Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to a Two Giant Goofballs podcast, a New York Giants podcast. I am Rob, not joined by Drew. Oh, so sad, but Rob's a Buccaneer today, or I should just say a sexy pirate, because, hey, we're a Giants podcast, not a Bucs podcast. Anyway, it is a Halloween edition over here. I am a pirate. Drew is off trick-or-treating. Dude has a sweet tooth. Couldn't get away from it. Sorry, guys. See where Drew lies here. See how it goes, bud. But anyway, we got an exciting episode for you. We're going to go up. We're going to talk about some of the updates of the injury list, some Giants news, and of course, go over our picks. So diving right in, let's go right into the Giants Commanders injury report over here. Chiming right along. First, we have interior linebacker Matt Adams with a knee injury. He was a full practice today. So that was a limited practice today was Josh Ezeudu with his knee injury. Bryce Ford Wheaton did not practice today. The Scottish Hammer, Jamie Gillen himself, also did not practice with his left hamstring. Once again, it's a very odd that we have to go over which hamstrings what. Granted, it's his planted foot that where the injury is, but it's also his hamstring. Could have said in recovery. Full practice today was Sexy Dexty himself. He did not practice yesterday just because it was an injury related thing. He just needed some rest. He's a big guy. He's got the biggest sack in the league, or has most sacks in the league, something like that. I'm not sure. But dude's crushing it. He just needed a little break before he goes into this week to get some more sacks. We also had wide receiver Smith-Marsette with some limited practice today with his ankle. Tyrone Tracy was also limited in practice with the concussion protocol. From what I hear, it's a iffy 50-50 because it's, concussion protocol with Tua and pretty much him being injured constantly with that concussion. The NFL has been taking the concussion protocol very serious, but it does look good for Tracy to come back because it didn't look like that bad. Too bad of a hit, I should say. Our edge over there, Brian Burns, with Achilles and bicep injuries. He was limited practice yesterday, but he was at full practice today. We also had Jermaine Illuminor with his hip. He also was a full practice today. Flott was limited in practice with his groin. Trey Hawkins also was limited in practice with his ankle. Keep that train going with our cornerbacks. Adoree Jackson also was limited in practice today with his neck. Guard Jake Kubis with his dominant was limited in practice as well. JMS was limited in practice, our center. Interior linebacker Ty Summers was also limited in practice, and John Runyon was limited in practice as well. A lot of these guys towards the end here, limited practice. I really expect them to play in this game today. I'm not too concerned. Maybe you can make a case for Adoree Jackson with a neck, but it seems like most of these guys are going to play. Now up for the Commanders, you had offensive tackle Cornelius Lucas with an ankle. He did not practice today. You also had linebacker Frankie Luvu with a shin, did not practice today. That's 2 days in a row he did not practice. Their center, well, I'm about to butcher his name, Tyler Bassett, with his thumb, was limited at practice today. Thank goodness Drew is not here to make fun of me saying that name because, woo, doggy, that was brutal. Offensive tackle Brian Coleman with a concussion protocol was a full practice today. He was limited practice yesterday, which means he's going to play this week, most likely. Jalen Daniels with his ribs was limited practice. Listen, guys, I have 100% expectations of this guy playing against us on Sunday at 1 o'clock. He was limited practice because of his ribs. Obviously, he doesn't want to get hurt, but we'll talk about that more later when we break down the game just a smidge more here. Defensive end Farrell with his knee did not practice yesterday. He was limited practice, so let's see where that escalates into tomorrow and going into this weekend. The running back Brian Robinson Jr. was limited at practice. I do expect him to play 100% against us because, let's face it, Giants fans, we can't stop the run, and this guy looked like a stud against us last time. If you have him in fantasy, you might want to start him. And wide receiver, oh, geez. Olamide Zacharias, this hamstring was limited in practice. Drew, I hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving, just a wonderful Halloween party, and not paying attention to this podcast, not talking, get in here. Scary Terry McLaurin himself was a full participant in practice today with this ankle injury. Let's break down some Giants news, guys. Let's first, Jermaine Luminor, after last week, says he claims victory over TJ Watt. He had a good game. I don't know if you could say you claim a victory over TJ Watt, but when you're also talking about one of the best defensive guys in the league, and really hold him down to what Luminor did, I guess you could say that. Before the game, he said, "I want to be on an island with TJ Watt all day." After the game, I was on an island with him for majority of the game, and he did not do a damn thing. I'm not going to sit here and freaking sing his praises, Luminor told the FYAN host Sal Lakota and Brandon Tenari. He didn't do anything for 3.5 quarters and had one impact play. It's not wrong. He did stop us. He did stop TJ Watt for the most part. I have a lot of respect for every single player in the NFL. TJ Watt said, everyone works hard, and I'm just trying to get my opportunities when I get them and make the most of them when they happen. Watt's numbers Monday night, 6 pressures, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. So did Luminor 100% stop him? No. But when you're talking about TJ Watt, once again, one of the best guys at his position in the NFL today, Luminor stepped up to the plate when you were talking about a guy that had a mid-50s, low 60s PFF grade. As Miss Kelsey comes in the comments saying, "Sweet pirate costume. Thanks. I was trick-or-treating today." Tom Coughlin and other news. Little segue there. Tom Coughlin is a little closer to becoming an NFL, a Hall of Fame notoriety over here. The Hall Coach Blue Ribbon Committee on Thursday trimmed its list of 14 candidates, 9 semi-finalists. And Coughlin was one of them, among Bill Marsberg, Chuck Knox, Mike Holmgren, Dan Reeves, Marty Strossenheimer, George Shiflett, Mike Shanahan, and Clark Segnesi. Former coaches of the Giants was also Egnarster, Reeves, and Schroederheimer. And that being said, guys, let's dive right into this podcast and talk about our pick'ems for next week. But before we do that, let's sum up last week and then get into paying some bills here. All right. So last week, Drew had 10 picks straight up. I had 11. Drew, someone was closer. I know we talked about this yesterday, but we're going to go over this again, which gives Drew 70 on the year straight up picks. I have 72. Still picking great, guys. Drew and I tied 9 against the spread, which puts us both at 63 on the year, tied again, which gives us a just shy of a 52% rating against the spread. When, once again, guys, we gave you 100% of the spread picks. So that being said, there's some games we'll tell you. El Paso in some games, game of the week. Yeah, the goofballs may not be goofy at everything. Up next, your over-unders. Drew picked 9. I picked 10, which puts Drew at 68 on the year and me at 70 on the year. Once again, great picks. And Drew, my God, this dude's just, when he's on with his trifectas, because he picked 6 right this week against my 3. He's at a 31 correct for the year through 8 weeks, and I'm at 25. I'm just hovering just over 20% of correct trifectas on the year, which is, if you're betting in sports, that's pretty darn good. And Drew is sitting at 25, just over 25%. That's a quarter of the games this year he's picked the trifecta on. So kudos to you, Drew. You're not here, so I could be a little more humble about how great it is instead of talking some shit. But anyway, the point-wise, that puts Drew at 34 points on the week to my 33 points, which just gives Drew a 2-point lead on me at 232 points to my 230 points. So, Drew, you had a great week. Kudos to you, but you're going down this week, buddy. Sorry. I think I talk a little more crap because you're not here. So, sucks to be you, buddy. But that being said, let's pay some of them bills here, and we could dive right into some pick'ems.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All right. First game we talked about last night. We talked about, obviously, the Texans playing the Jets. Both Drew and I took the Texans to win, the Texans to cover, and we both took the under in this game. We went right for the trifecta. And if you guys are watching live, there's 5 minutes left in the first half, and the score is 0-0. So, Drew, at least we got the under going, right? Unless there's a very explosive second half. Should be good. The next game, Sunday, 1 o'clock, let's talk some football. You have the Cowpukes going into Atlanta, playing them Falcons. The Falcons at home are giving up 3 points to Dallas. Or sorry, they're the 3-point favorites at home. And the over-under on this game is 51.5 points, which is absolutely redonkulous. So Drew goes and takes the Falcons to win, the Falcons to cover, and he takes it over. And he's not silly for thinking this way. Because the Falcons are the better team on paper. They've played way better football. And they've just been crushing people at home. They've really come together and started to take away that division, if you will. So I agree with Drew. I also took the Falcons to win this game, the Falcons to cover, and I took the over in this game. You have Kirk Cousins coming to. You have the Cowboys defense, who has been playing subpar compared to what they were when Dan Quinn left. The boys didn't look so hot last week. The Falcons are just playing better offense, better defense, and they also got better running game, which let us be real. The Cowboys can't stop the run. The Cowboys can't run the ball, which means what you're going to see in this game is a lot of secondary work. You're going to see Dak trying to throw the ball a lot, and he's going to be under pressure. There's going to be a lot of QB, a lot of passer pressure, and a lot of secondary work. As I say that, Houston just runs it in for a touchdown. Joe Mixon goes in, and Houston Texans live update go up. If you guys listen tomorrow morning, I apologize. You know the final score, but guys, for everyone who's listening live, much appreciated. Joe Mixon touchdown. Boom. Hopefully, you guys got him fancy. Up next, this game's a little saucy, I think. But Drew and I also both agree on it. You got the Broncos going in to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are favored by 8.5 points. And the over-under in this game is a 46.5 points. I know Drew is not a fan of Sean Payton. Bo Nix was taken late in the draft this past year. But Bo Nix looks like possibly the second best quarterback at this point coming out of this draft this past year. He's not that far off from Cleve. Let's be real. Jordan Daniels is playing probably the best football of all these quarterbacks out of this draft. That being said, I'm still taking the Ravens to win this game. But 8.5 points is just too rich for my blood. 5.5 is like the cutoff for most games. And I'm going to break that rule a little later down the line. But you talk about the Broncos, who has a top 3 defense. Their offense is really coming around. But that offense and Bo Nix really depend on the run game. And Baltimore Ravens have been really good at stopping the run. So it's going to make Bo, hopefully he knows, but he's going to have to throw the ball a little bit more often. So I'm going to take the Broncos to cover this game. And I'm also going to take the under in this game because both of these they've been playing great football all year. And I think it's going to be a little homecoming for Bo Nix going into Baltimore playing the MVP of last year. And Drew 100% agrees with me as well. So, Drew, we're talking about 2 trifectas right away, so that's not a bad idea for the 2 of us. And I think we're going to keep that train running a little bit. Actually, no, we're going to diverge here. All right, you got the Dolphins. You got the Chua Dolphins. You don't have the Skyler hosting the Miami Dolphins. You got the Tua Dolphins coming in. How progressive is Tua? Time will tell. But the Dolphins are going to go into Buffalo, play the Buffalo Bills, obviously. The Bills are favored by 5.5 points. And the over-under in this game is 49.5 points. Now, we all know that once Tua plays for Miami, they're a very high-powered offense. They put up points. They have speedy weapons that move down the field really fast, high-scoring games. But what you also have on the other side of the football is Josh Allen, who has owned, spanked, just dominated the Miami Dolphins for the past, 6 years? Or whatever it is that since he came out of the draft. Josh Allen has just owned and made Miami his little, if you will. So in this game, I'm going to take the Bills to win. I'm going to take the Bills to cover. And like a game like this, like I don't know if I want to like take them to cover, but like just with history and what Josh Allen has done against this team, I'm going to take them to cover, especially since they're coming up to Buffalo. Granted, it's not in the middle of December, but it's going to be November, and you're not going to have that 80-degree weather like you do in Miami. And I'm going to take the over just because I do think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout. And I think both quarterbacks, I think Tyreek Hill is going to have an actual like effective game a little bit, not effective enough to win. But you also have Amari Cooper, who went into Buffalo recently, and he looked pretty good last week. And you have Coleman, who's also stepping up, and their tight end over there also is looking pretty well. Their offensive line has been playing better. And I think the defense for the Buffalo Bills and their offense is going to be the difference maker because, let's face it, the Dolphins really don't have that great of a defense. And Drew agrees with me for the most part because he also took the Bills to win, the Bills to cover, but he took the under. He also, I guess he must have forgot that Josh Allen and Tua Tagovailoa is hosting this game. As John Anderson Jr. comes in here, El Roberto, Salvador Roberto, is hosting tonight. I am hosting. Drew's trick-or-treating. John Anderson Jr. also came in and said, are you going to, what'd you say? Are you going to they, them dance? No, dude, that's just a pirate trick-or-treating with a 3-year-old. I'm sorry, man. All right. Up next, divisional rival game, another one. Not as exciting. You got the Saints going into Carolina. The Saints are 7-point favorites going into Carolina with the over-under at 43.5 points. Mr. Drew himself is taking the Saints to win, but the Panthers to cover, and he's taking the over. And Drew, I hear what you're saying, but I 66.6666666% disagree with you. Because I do believe the Saints are going to win. The Saints are going to cover this game. And it's going to be in the under. And that's pretty much, I'm taking it because the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton himself, is questionable to play this game, which means Bryce Young is going to play. And there's been a lot of, I don't want to say issues in the locker room, but like when you bitch your starting quarterback and you put it in the second string and you win a game, like this is a lot. You start putting up points with your second string quarterback, and you're going to put this, Bryce Young back in and have the team rally around him. The Panthers have also been doing a fire sale almost on the whole team, just giving up picks, giving them to everyone. And it's not even like the best picks away. Like they just gave up a receiver to the Baltimore Ravens for a 5th round. I want to say 6th round, maybe. If you're from the outside looking at it, you kind of look at it and go, looks like they're tanking again. But it is a divisional game, so I do think it's going to be somewhat close. But the Panthers, without the Red Rocket, have been terrible, and I think they're 0% against the spread without Andy Dalton. So that fact alone, I'm going Saints in the under. As John comes back in, nice outfit. He met the same costume. Like I said, dude, I was trick-or-treater. I don't know. I didn't change his Halloween. Let's go with it. He also came in saying, I think the Panthers will win. And John also came in. Cole Bryce is playing. Forgot all. It's Saints will win this one. Yeah, Bryce is playing. Dalton, if Dalton, listen, Andy Dalton's playing. I would take them in the spread. I don't know if I'd take them to win. The Saints spanked them earlier this year. They got the same record, I want to say. The Saints have been on the same. Oh, yeah. The Saints have lost 6 straight. So they're not playing great either, but also look at the Panthers. They've also been playing god awful. All right, up next, you got the Raiders. The Raiders going into Cincinnati playing the Bengals. The Bengals are 7-point favorites at home. My God. And the over-under is 46.5 points. All right, this game, guys, is very interesting in a lot of different levels. You got the Joe Burrows of the league. And, Joe Burrows, arguably top 5 quarterback in this league. Has he played like this year? Not so much. But you also can't take it away. They also lost their offensive coordinator. You have to go to Titans. And, there's a lot to be said about that. But then you got the Raiders, who've also been god-awful. But you know what the Raiders have done? When they had a 7 or more point spread against them, they have won against the spread. So that fact alone, statistically, means that the Raiders play closer football than a lot of people think. So I do think they will cover this 7-point spread. Worst case, they push, but I don't see them losing against the spread. Drew agrees with me on that point because he took the Raiders in the spread as well. But let's face it, the Bengals are a better team on paper, on the field, all around, better players. Hate to say it, you got Joe Burrow going against Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew is a good quarterback in this league, but he's a great backup in this league. And Joe Burrow is just a great quarterback in this league. Even though he went from Joe Burrow went full, look at me, I'm the Slim Shady, to look at me, I'm Ellen DeGeneres, to look at me, I'm Lance Bass from NSYNC. So let's see how he plays this week. Max Crosby could be his last game as a Raider. Probably not. Trade deadline's Tuesday. Let's see what happens. Do they save him to get more picks from him and tank the rest of the year? We'll see. The over-under, like I said, is 46.5 points. Drew took the over in this pick, and I agree. Drew, we're going for a trifecta in this game, and I feel pretty confident. I feel like this is probably Drew and I's game of the week. So I'm going to lock that in myself after this game, after this podcast. As John comes back, the Bengals barely beat us, and that's true. But we also have a way better defense than the Raiders. Max Crosby has been playing lights out for the past couple years with Sexy Dex. Also leads the NFL in sacks. He may have the biggest sack out there. I don't know. John also comes in. Raiders list the Devontae, though. Even worse. So we shall see. Up Up next, you got the Chargers going into Ohio, playing them Cleveland Browns. The Browns are giving the Chargers 1.5 at home, which actually I should say it the other way around. The Browns are going to 1.5 at home. So they're saying Vegas is telling you that the Chargers are the favorites in this game, and the over-under is at 47.5 points. As Drew comes in here, it just says Chargers are going to win this game. Not only are the Chargers going to win this game, they're going to cover this game, which 1.5 makes sense. And he's taking the under. Now, Drew, I know you don't like the Browns. I know you don't like the organization. I know you don't like the quarterback. There's your QB1, if you will. But Sean Watson's not playing this game. You have the amazing, the fantastical Jameson Winston, which should be a Giant. I'll say it again. So I'm going to disagree with you in this game. Brett, I am also taking the under. I'm going to take the Browns to pull up an upset in this game, playing at home against the Chargers. Yes, they're playing against Hardball, who's going to play slow, methodical football, but he's also a run first. And they're playing against some talent in that defense. And without Watson playing, this team's playing, granted, it's 1 week, looked a lot better without him. They looked a lot better without him last year. So give me the Browns. Give me the Browns. I agree with you on the under. Up next, it's our game. And the guys who really want to know what we thought about this game, listen to our episode from yesterday. You got the Commanders coming into MetLife, playing our good old Giants, our G-men. The G-men are giving up 4 points to the Commanders in this game. They are, let's face it, we suck. The over-under in this game is 44.5 points. Drew and I talked about this game yesterday. We both are unanimous in a decision. We just make it real fast. We took DC in the under. If you want to know more about that game, listen to our podcast from yesterday. Right. Up next, the most exciting dull game of the week. You got the Patriots going into Tennessee playing the Titans. Now, the Titans are 3.5-point favorites at home, and the over-under is at 38. Drew thinks this is going to be a Patriots all day. He's taking them in the spread, and he's going with the under. And Drew, I agree about the under. But you also have Drake May and concussion protocol during this game. And we've seen the difference of how Drake May plays compared to Jacoby Brisket. He does not play good football for the Patriots. That's when they were low scoring. Yes, they won week one with an upset against the Bengals, who have not played good football. Besides that, they haven't won until Drake May has come in. So I'm going to take the Titans to win. And it's going to be a little interesting because Will Levis is also questionable to play this game. But I want to take the home team in this game. I want to take them to win both the game, the spread. I agree with you in the under. All right, let's go into them 4 o'clock games. You got the Bears playing the Cardinals. The Cards are giving the Bears 1.5 points at home, and the over-under in this game is 44.5 points. Now, my 2 cents on this game will be after I talk about Drew's, because we're also in dispute here, if you will, because he's taking the Bears to win this game, the Bears to cover this game, and he's taking the over. And once again, Drew, our over-unders have been killing this year, and I agree with you on the over. It's going to be a little bit of an exciting game. That 1.5 points still really scary, but people are just taking this. They're now taking the Cardinals serious, and I get it. They've been terrible for so long, but so have the Bears. And they had no business being that close with the Commanders last week. Yes, they have won some games. I get around behind the Bears quite a bit when they're playing, but I think the Cardinals are also another underrated team that they're not really talking about. The defense isn't that great, but they do enough to step up. The Bears defense has been playing decent football. Cleve is wishy-washy. Kyle Murray has looked like he's playing arguably some of his best football yet. He's also got some offensive weapons. That offensive line is probably the best offensive line that he's had since he came into the NFL. And yes, the Bears also have weapons as well on offense, but they have a terrible offensive line. I think the Cardinals win this game. They squeak out the victory. Close game, exciting game in the under. I'm sorry, in the over. Up next, which might be one of the games of the weeks. By what I mean, one of the games of the week is what you should bet on. If you're going to put your hard money on there, and I'm telling you to put your money on anything, but you got the Jaguars going into Philadelphia, playing the Eagles. The Eagles are laying 7.5 points to the Jaguars, if you will. And the over-under is 45.5 points. This is an easy win for Philadelphia. Drew agrees with me as well. And like I said earlier in the podcast, 5.5 points, that 5-point difference, 5.5 point difference has been that sweet spot all year. It's not going to make a difference in this game. They are a god-awful defense, the Jaguars. And the Eagles' defense, actually, the past 3 games has been the lowest scored against defense in the league through 3 games. Not just each week. So Drew and I both agree. Eagles win. Eagles do a dominating, crushing win over the Jaguars. Actually, Drew, I lied. You took the Jaguars in the spread. I did not. I took the Eagles in the spread. So we're way off in this game. But you took the over, and I took the under because I don't think the Jaguars are going to be able to do much in this game because the Eagles defense has been playing that much better against, let's face it, a lackluster Jaguars offense, and their defense is ranked somewhere in the 30s out of 32 teams. Yeah. Jalen Hurts has not been throwing the ball as much, which made them more efficient on offense because they're running the ball more. And guess what? The Jaguars are really bad at? Just both that stuff right there. They're bad in secondary and bad pass rush and the run. All right. Let's get into a little spicy topic here. The game of the week. Probably my favorite game that I'm really looking forward to watch. But before we do that, let's talk about John Anderson Jr. Scooby-Doo, Drew, where are you? You got some work to do now. Scooby-Doo, Drew, where are you? It's okay. We got Alvarado. Aaron Rodgers looks so upset every time in this game. Oh, he is god-awful. He's terrible. And he gives us the update. 7-0 Texans at the half. Yeah. Lackluster game thus far, but it's been pretty good. As John goes, hey, Roberto, where's your patch hook? And I don't know what that small emoji is. Oh, my parrot. The parrot, that's in the pants. The hook's top of the refrigerator, and I lost the patch. I need to read comments. It's bad enough I can't read them with 2 eyes. All right. Go to the 425 games. You got the Lions going into Lambeau Field playing the Packers. I hope there's no Packers fans out there when I start talking about this game. But the Packers are given 2.5 points at home with an over-under at 48.5 points. Drew and I are going for a trifecta in this game. And I'm sorry to any Green Bay Packers out there, fans out there. We're both taking the Lions to win this game. We're both taking the Lions to cover the spread. We're both taking it over. My biggest factor in this game is that Love got shaken up last week. We don't know if he's playing. You're playing against Malik Willis. And this Detroit Lions team's defense has stepped up this recently, this past year. It's been playing average, decent, on the defense. But that offense is such a high caliber offense. And if I knew Julian Love was 100% healthy, may have changed my opinion on this game. But with him not playing, with Malik Willis, I've seen what he can do with Tennessee. The coaching staff of Green Bay has done a great job showing what hiding Malik Willis's weaknesses. But this Lions defense is going to exploit it. And I also believe that the Green Bay's defense is not going to be able to stop the Lions offense, which is fine. It's a divisional game. These guys are fine. We put up 47 to 45 in its own game. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game, exciting game. But the Lions win, Lions cover in the over. So if you don't know who to bet on that game, go with the over. As John Anderson Jr. comes in saying, come down to Detroit or Philly and go into the Super Bowl. I mean, there's other teams that are out there that could, still get healthy and still play good football. But I don't think Philly is going to quite be there. I think, yes, they're playing better football than they have the past 3 weeks going into the month compared to where they started at. But listen, they showed their cards last year, the last 7 games, and they showed the cards in the first 5 games this year. I don't think they're that high of a power. I think the NFC North is probably the best division in the NFC right now. As solving the race problem, what's up? How you doing, brother? Things could be a lot worse. We could be the Jets. Oh my God, you're absolutely right. But you know what? I guess both offenses are pretty inept. So I don't know how much better it is. As John also comes in, I don't think the rookie in the Commanders is going to go, but you never know. First time for everything. And he also says, LOL, that's true, Sullivan. Yeah, listen, the Jets are supposed to have one of the best defenses out there. They're supposed to have one of the best quarterbacks out there, one of the best running backs. Terrible line. They got 2 great receivers over there, and Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, but it's not working out for them tonight, huh? Womp. Up next, another exciting game. You got the Rams going to Seattle. Big divisional rivalry game. The Rams are favored 1.5 points in this game with the over-under at 48.5 points. This one's pretty simple, and Drew and I actually both agree on this. We're taking the Rams to win this game, the Rams to cover, and the over. And I can't tell you why Drew picked that, but I can tell you that the Rams defense has been playing a lot better this past 3 weeks. Their offense has been just stricken with injuries. And guess what? Last week, a lot of those players came back, and you saw how great they played. And the Seahawks have been nothing but injured in this game, at almost every position. When we played them, I think they had 24 injuries on their team on a 53-man roster. Like, it's pretty bad, and it hasn't got much better for them. So it's pretty easy to me. In a divisional game, you got to go with Puka Nacua. You got to go with Matt Stafford. So Rams, in the over. All right. Sunday night football. Sunday night. You got the Colts going into Minnesota playing the Vikings. The Vikings are giving the Colts 5.5 points in this game with the over-under at 46.5. You got to look at how the Vikings played last week. You got to look at the competition. You got to look at Indianapolis benching after 10 games of starting. They're benching their rookie, sophomore quarterback, Anthony Richardson, for Joe Flacco. Wacko for Flacco is Indianapolis. So I think the Colts will cover this game. I don't think they will win this game, but I do think they're going to play a tough, close game, and I think it's going to be in the under. And looking down at Drew's notes over here, he also agrees. He thinks that Wacko for Flacco is primed for November because look what he did for the Browns last year. Just saying. He's also taking the over, but he's also taking the Vikings to win this game. Listen, the Vikings are playing great football. You can't take that away from them. Once again, look at that NFC North. You got the Vikings. You got the Lions. You got the Bears. Oh, my. And, of course, the Packers. And, listen, the Bears are the Bears. It is what it is. But they'll squeak out a couple more wins, look a lot better than what they have been in recent past. And they're not far away from being a better team. But this division up there is pretty tough. All right, let's go into Monday Night Football. Monday night. You got the Buccaneers, not to be confused with the Pirates here. Going into Kansas City playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs. And the Chiefs are 8.5 point favorites over here. So they're laying up 8.5, a big doozy, a big dunk, if you will. 8.5. Oh my. To the Buccaneers there. And the over-under is 45.5 points. Drew's going to take the Chiefs in this game to win. He's going to take the Bucs because, let's face it, he's right outside of Tampa Bay. Yes, he's got some people to please down there, I guess. I don't know. And he's going to take the under in this. Drew, I mean, you're not wrong for most of this, but the Buccaneers are beat up. Let's face it. Who's catching the ball for them? Their offensive line's here and there. Their defense is still there, which is fine. I don't think their defense is good enough to stop the Chiefs. Not nearly that good. Which the Chiefs have been running the ball pretty well this year. And they also have a really good quarterback named Mahomes or something like that. Mayonnaise or something. I don't know. Patrick Mahomes, this guy. He was pretty good. So I'm taking the Chiefs to win this game. I think they spank the Bucs and they cover this spread, 8.5. And I'm also going to take the under, though. I think it's going to be a very lackluster game for the Buccaneers in the spotlight. All right, guys. With that being said, let me read a couple more comments and let's get ourselves out of here tonight. As John comes in saying, Jets O-line is bad. That's an understatement. Their O-line is a god awful. It is terrible. Terrible in the words of Barkley, Charles Barkley himself. John Anderson Jr. comes in saying, Roberto, your name tonight should be listed as Roberto, not Rob. Let me guess you're not wrong. Here we are. Hey, are Drew's notes 10 pages long? LOL. That's on a good day, my friend. We should see his list some days. Drew's a mile long. But, guys, that being said, thank you for joining us tonight. Oh, me, and my second persona over here. It was a fun episode. Thank you for all the comments. We're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9 o'clock at night, unless we're playing a game one of those days. But we're also live after every single game. You can find us on video on Facebook. It's sometimes LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and of course, oh, he's not here. Drew's LinkedIn page. Oh, I love that. I love that. You can also find us the next day, 5 o'clock in the morning, on any audio podcasting out there: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Dozer, wherever you listen to your audio podcast. You guys most likely find us. And if you can't find us there, you're probably listening to the wrong podcast page. Let's be real here. It was a lot of fun. Remember, you could give us some super chats down on Facebook, on YouTube. Be great. You could donate to a cup of coffee like that a lot, guys. And as always, Giants fans, go dreaming!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please.